The 90s were surely the glory days for arcade gaming, and the nostalgia hits even harder if you think about those teamed-up sessions with your buddies at the arcade. Let's strap in, because today we're rolling with the raddest, baddest top 20 co-op arcade games built for team players. If you miss all that high-fiving and side-by-side button smashing with your pals, well, you're in the right spot, because we've got a lineup that's so cool that it'll make you remember the old days. From action-packed arcade adventures to enemy-smashing escapades, these games are all about joining forces and doubling the fun. So, grab your player too, because it's game time. Let's jump into the co-op craze and find out which titles made the arcade teamwork the dream work. Let's dive straight in. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time takes you on an adventure that kicks off with a shocking heist. Krang commandeers a gigantic exosuit and snatches the Statue of Liberty right under the noses of the Turtles. As if that wasn't wild enough, Shredder pops up on TV to mock our heroes. This sets the stage for an epic chase from the bustling streets of New York City to the dark, dank sewers, and even through time itself. The Turtles have to battle through history and the future to defeat Shredder's forces and restore the Statue of Liberty. This arcade classic is all about cooperation and arcade brawling. Available in both 2-player and 4-player modes, each player picks their favorite turtle, or in the 4-player version, they're assigned one. Each turtle brings something unique to the table, making teamwork essential. The gameplay is intense and straightforward, with a joystick for movement, an attack button, and a jump button. Players can also pull off combo moves and special attacks, adding a strategy to the fast-paced fighting. The game takes players through a variety of time periods, each with distinctive enemies and bosses that up the ante on the challenge. Turtles in Time really nails the co-op arcade vibe by making teamwork its core. There's a real kick to banding together as the famous turtle team, with each character's powers perfectly complementing the others, turning every session into a riot of fun with your pals. This game's all about collaboration, whether you're scheming to knock out a tricky boss or just enjoying smacking foot soldiers right into the screen. Roaming through various historical settings with the Turtles not only feels like a blast from the past, but also makes every playthrough memorable and enjoyable as a group. And honestly, teaming up to defeat Shredder and save the day feels supremely satisfying every single time. The Simpsons arcade game. Next up, we have the Simpsons arcade game, where chaos erupts in downtown Springfield when Smithers, on a diamond heist for Mr. Burns, accidentally involves Maggie Simpson. The diamond ends up in Maggie's mouth, turning her into an unwitting accomplice as Smithers kidnaps her. The rest of the Simpson family is hot on his trail, battling through waves of Mr. Burns' hired goons across 8 vibrant stages. Their quest to save Maggie takes them from the streets to the threatening environment of the Springfield nuclear power plant. In a climactic showdown, the family faces off against Smithers and then Mr. Burns in a high-tech battle suit. Victory sees Maggie safely returned and Homer nonchalantly discarding the diamond. The gameplay really lets you enjoy that side-scrolling beat-em-up experience, which is ideal for co-op play. Players can jump in anytime, choosing from Homer, Marge, Bart and Lisa, each with unique attack methods, like Marge's vacuum cleaner swings or Bart's skateboard wax. The game supports both 2-player and 4-player setups, with specific cabinets designed for each. The gameplay is engaging with simple controls, an 8-way joystick paired with jump and attack buttons. Combining characters also allows for unique team attacks. Players need to keep an eye on the health meters, grab food for boosts, and use environment items as weapons. Special mini-games between stages add extra fun and challenge. The engaging comedic environment of Springfield, coupled with familiar voices and characters from the show, enhances the collective gaming experience, making it a beloved choice for team play and arcade fun.
X-Chicken, XMen, Shield, come to die. XMen, come dead.
XMen arcade game. XMen is where players get to explore into the action-packed world of Marvel's beloved superhero team. Gamers can choose from 6 X-Men characters: Cyclops, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, or Dazzler, each on a mission to thwart Magneto's sinister plan to devastate human civilization. The journey's fraught with challenges, featuring battles against an array of comic book foes like Sentinels, mutant crocodiles, and supervillains such as Pyro, Blob, and Juggernaut. The stakes are raised when Magneto kidnaps Professor X and Kitty Pryde, leading to a daring rescue mission that culminates in a showdown on Magneto stronghold, Asteroid M. Each character's mutant ability allows them to clear the screen of enemies, though using this power comes at the cost of health points. The gameplay is further enhanced by the ability to move in all directions, creating a more vast three-dimensional experience. Collectible power-ups and health packs scattered throughout levels add a layer of strategy, essential for surviving tougher encounters. Speaking of the co-op appeal, there's a 6-player version with a dual-screen arcade cabinet which offers an inclusive all-hands-on-deck gaming experience where teamwork is key. Each character's super unique abilities complement the team, requiring players to work together to effectively manage waves of enemies and tough bosses. This, coupled with the nostalgic appeal of the X-Men universe, makes it a standout arcade game for group play, where camaraderie and collective strategy lead to rewarding gameplay moments. Gauntlet. In the arcade classic Gauntlet, players step into the boots of 4 distinct fantasy characters: Thor, the warrior; Merlin, the wizard; Thyra, the Valkyrie; or Questor, the elf. The mission is simple yet daunting. Navigate through sprawling monster-infested mazes to find the exit on each level. Along the way, players must battle a horde of enemies, collect treasures, and utilize special items to boost their chances of survival. The ultimate goal? Outwit and outlast the dangers of the dungeon to emerge victorious. This one's a top-down hack-and-slash adventure where teamwork really shines. Players control the characters via an 8-way joystick and 2 buttons for firing and using magic. Each character has unique strengths. The warrior excels in combat, the wizard wields potent magic, the Valkyrie boasts superior defense, and the elf is quickest. The game throws a variety of monsters at the team, from ghosts and grunts to the deadly life-draining Death, who could only be destroyed with a magic potion. The game's difficulty escalates as players delve deeper into the dungeons, requiring genuine cooperation to manage resources like health and magic effectively. This game is legendary in the co-op arcade game scene for its emphasis on collaborative play. With up to 4 players joining the fray, the game demands communication and strategic sharing of resources like food and potions to keep everyone alive. Its famous audio cues from the narrator, such as "Warrior needs food badly," adds to the urgency and camaraderie of the experience. The ability for players to jump in or revive mid-game by inserting coins keeps the dynamic action going, making Gauntlet a bonding thrill ride for friends and a pioneering spirit in multiplayer dungeon crawls. Double Dragon. Double Dragon takes you into the streets as either Billy or Jimmy Lee, twin brothers and martial artists. The plot kicks off with a dramatic twist. Billy's girlfriend, Marion, is kidnapped by the ruthless Black Warriors gang. Driven by a sense of duty and urgency, the brothers must punch, kick, and fight their way through the gang's turf to rescue Marion. Their journey through city slums, factories, and forests is packed with intense confrontations and culminates in a showdown in the gang's hideout. In the game, players control either one of the Lee brothers, utilizing a combination of martial arts moves executed through simple joystick and button inputs. The game shines with its cooperative element. 2 players can team up, combining their attacks for more effective damage and strategic crowd control. Enemies wield a variety of weapons, which can be knocked from their grasp and used against them. These include baseball bats, whips, and more. The game progresses through 4 challenging stages, each ending in a boss fight that ramps up the difficulty and excitement. The cooperative gameplay of Double Dragon is what sets it apart as an arcade classic. Teaming up as the Lee brothers allows for unique dual tactics, like one player grabbing an enemy while the other unleashes a flurry of attacks. This not only makes the game more engaging, but also fosters a sense of camaraderie and teamwork. The final twist, where the brothers must duel each other if they both reach the end, adds an unexpected competitive edge, making the cooperative journey to that point even more memorable. This presentation of cooperative and competitive gameplay ensures that Double Dragon remains a favorite for arcade goers looking for a solid beat-em-up experience to enjoy with a friend. Golden Axe. In the world of Golden Axe, a medieval fantasy teeming with danger and adventure, players go on a heroic quest to overthrow the tyrannical Death Adder. He seized control of the peaceful land of Uriah, murdering the hero's companion, Alex, in his ruthless campaign. The game follows 3 warriors, each driven by a personal vendetta: Gilius Thunderhead, a dwarf seeking retribution for his twin brother's death; Axe Battler, a barbarian avenging his mother's murder; and Tyrus Flare, an Amazon whose parents were slain by Death Adder. Together, they fight to reclaim the mythical Golden Axe and restore peace to their land. Players can choose from 3 characters, each with unique weapons and magical abilities. The game's magic system adds a strategic layer. Players collect magic potions to fill their magic bars, unleashing powerful spells when needed. Gilius can cast lightning spells, Axe wields earth magic, and Tyrus unleashes potent fire spells. The gameplay is straightforward, but requires players to tactically manage their magic and coordinate attacks, especially in multiplayer mode. Golden Axe excels as a co-op arcade game because it allows up to 3 players to join forces in in real-time battle. This collaborative aspect not only makes the game more enjoyable, but also strategic, as players must decide when to use their limited magic for maximum effect. Sharing the screen with friends, devising tactics together, and facing waves of enemies fosters a compelling team dynamic that enhances the gaming experience. That's not all, because you also get to enjoy the classic fantasy setting and thrill of the quests with your favorite go-to buddies. Contra. Next, we have Contra, which drops players into the thick of action in the 27th century. Bill Reiser and Lance Bean, two elite commandos from the Earth Marine Corps' Contra unit, are tasked with a crucial mission. They must infiltrate the Gallagher Archipelago near New Zealand, where the nefarious Red Falcon organization has established a base. Their ultimate goal is to thwart the Red Falcon's plot to annihilate humanity, uncovering and eliminating the alien influence behind their sinister plan. Contra is a fast-paced run-and-gun game known for its intense action and varied gameplay perspectives. Players can team up as Bill and Lance, navigating through side-scrolling jungle levels, engaging in pseudo-3D base infiltrations, and battling in fixed-screen formats. The controls are intuitive yet robust, with an 8-way joystick for movement and aiming, and buttons for shooting and jumping. The arsenal includes a default rifle and power-ups like machine guns, laser beams, and the iconic spread gun. Players must dodge enemy fire, leap over obstacles, and utilize their weapons effectively to advance through the game's challenging stages. Contra's co-op gameplay is where it truly excels as an arcade favorite. The game allows two players to simultaneously blast through levels, sharing the thrill of the battle and the strategic difficulties of coordinating attacks. This joint effort not only doubles the firepower, but also enhances the enjoyment as players cover each other and strategically manage the array of weapons and power-ups. The ability for one player to jump in at any time helps maintain the momentum, making Contra a prime example of cooperative play and a staple in the arcade gaming community. Final Fight. Moving on to Final Fight. The streets of Metro City are the battleground where crime rates soar and corruption runs deep. Mike Hager, the city mayor and a former pro wrestler, has been fighting to clean up the city. However, the Mad Gear Gang, a dominant criminal force, kidnaps his daughter Jessica to bend Hager to their will. Refusing to be intimidated, Hager enlists the help of Cody Travers, Jessica's boyfriend and a skilled brawler, and Guy, a ninja in training. Together, they embark on a gritty quest to dismantle Mad Gear and rescue Jessica, battling through the city's most dangerous corners. In this beat-em-up experience, players choose from 3 distinct characters: Hager, Cody, and Guy, each boasting unique fighting styles and moves. The game supports 2 players simultaneously, adding a layer of cooperative strategy as players unleash combos, grab and throw enemies, and utilize special moves that hit all surrounding foes at the cost of some health. Players explore through 6 challenging stages, from slums to subways, each culminating in a bus fight. The environment is interactive, with objects and weapons that can be picked up and used against the enemies, enhancing the depth and variety of combat. Final Fight is vastly celebrated for its cooperative gameplay, allowing friends to team up and take on the streets together. This adds a tactical layer as players can coordinate their attacks for maximum impact, cover each other when overwhelmed, and strategically use their power moves and weapons. The shared experience of fighting through waves of enemies and overcoming bosses fosters camaraderie and made it a go-to for players looking for a solid arcade beat-em-up to enjoy with a buddy. Sunset Riders. Sunset Riders sets players in the Wild West, taking on the roles of bounty hunters Steve, Billy, Bob, and Commando. Each with their own unique style and weaponry, they pursue the most notorious outlaws for bounty rewards. The story unfolds with wanted posters introducing each target, leading up to a showdown with the game's ultimate villain, the elegant yet deadly Sir Richard Rose. This arcade classic is a side-scrolling run-and-gun game that shares the high-octane action of Contra. Players can choose one of the 4 distinct characters, each with specific weapons ranging from revolvers and rifles to shotguns. The gameplay involves navigating diverse levels, including bustling towns and dangerous train rides, while dodging bullets and taking down waves of enemies. Strategic elements like jumping between floors, sliding to evade attacks, and using environmental hazards to defeat enemies add depth. Power-ups enhance weapon capabilities, and the cooperative gameplay allows up to 4 players to join forces in a fight through 8 challenging stages, culminating in intense boss battles. Now, let's see how well put the co-op appeal of this game really is. First off, it has to be the shared excitement excitement of taking down outlaws together, complemented by the competitive edge of scoring higher than your teammates. Secondly, the game truly encourages collaboration, especially during boss fights and bonus stages, but also stokes friendly rivalry through score competition. This mix of cooperative objectives and individual achievements, along with the vibrant settings, are what makes it a standout arcade experience for tactical teamwork. Alien vs. Predator. Set in Sandrad, California, Alien vs. Predator begins when the city is overrun by xenomorphs. Major Dutch Schaefer and Lieutenant Lynn Kurosawa, two cybernetically enhanced Marines, find themselves abandoned and on the brink of defeat. Just as they face an overwhelming attack, two Predators arrive, offering an alliance to eradicate the alien threat. Together, they discover that the infestation is a result of a sinister biowar project led by the rogue General Bush and the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The team fights through waves of aliens to a climactic showdown aboard Bush's ship, ultimately stopping the breeding program and eliminating the alien threat with a spectacular explosion. The gameplay supports up to 3 players in cooperative play. Players choose from 4 characters, Dutch, Lynn, and 2 Predators, each equipped with unique melee and ranged weapons. Gameplay involves navigating through 7 intense stages, utilizing a mix of melee weapons, projectile weapons, and power-ups like grenade launchers and flamethrowers. Characters must manage ammunition carefully, as it refills over time, adding a strategic element to the frenetic combat. The game's control setup uses an 8-directional joystick and 3 buttons for attacking, jumping, and shooting, creating dynamic and engaging gameplay. The ability to play with multiple characters introduces varied gameplay styles, allowing players to complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. The shared goal of defeating waves of aliens and progressing through the story together enhances the cooperative experience, making it a thrilling arcade game for team players. Cadillacs and dinosaurs. In the distant 26th century, the world ain't what it used to be. Dinosaurs ain't just part of history books no more, thanks to the shady black marketeers who've been turning these prehistoric beasts into raging monsters. Stepping up to save the day are 4 heroes: Jack Tenrek, the mechanic and shaman; Hannah Dundee, the adventurous diplomat; Mustafa Cairo, the fleet-footed engineer; and Mes Obradovich, the mysterious muscle of the group. Together, they're determined to thwart the marketeers' plans, battling through dangerous territories like the City in the Sea and the deadly Desert of Death. The journey gets even more intense when they uncover a villain named Morgan, linked to the mad scientist Dr. Simon Fessenden, who's creating dinosaur-human hybrids. The climax sees our heroes facing off against Fessenden himself, who morphs into monstrous forms. Despite the odds, they manage to defeat him and escape his collapsing lab, ensuring peace. You and your buddy can team up as one of 4 badass characters: Jack, Hannah, Mustafa, or Mess. Each one's got their own style, whether it's balanced, skillful, speedy, or just plain powerful. You'll be throwing punches, kicks, and special moves left and right, taking down enemies and even some dino pals along the way. And if that ain't enough, you can grab some firearms, chuck rocks, or go old school with clubs and explosives. But watch out, because them black marketeers ain't messing around. If you slip up and get caught, you'll face down the barrel of a gun in a tense showdown. You gotta act fast or it's game over, buddy. See, teamwork ain't just a bonus in this game, it's the key to victory. Coordinate your moves, cover each other's backs, and unleash devastating team attacks to clear out waves of enemies like a bus. And when things get tough, nothing beats the thrill of pulling off a perfectly timed combo with your partner in crime. Metal Slug. Set in the not-too-distant future of 2028, Metal Slug launches you into a world on the brink of chaos. You step into the boots of Peregrine Falcon Strike Force soldiers, Captain Marco Rossi and Lieutenant Tarma Roving. These two aren't just any soldiers. They're on a critical mission to take down the rebel army. The villainous General Donald Morden, intent on orchestrating a coup d'etat, aims to establish a new world order, and it's up to our heroes to stop him in his tracks. As either Marco or Tarma, you'll blaze through levels teeming with relentless enemies. This isn't just about shooting. It's about running, gunning, and staying on your toes. Armed with a simple but robust arsenal, including the iconic Metal Slug tank, affectionately dubbed SV-001 or SV-002, you enhance your offensive capabilities and bulk up your defenses. Throughout each level, you're not just blasting through enemies, you're also on a rescue mission. Freeing prisoners of war not only feels good, but also rewards you with various power-ups and weapons. adding a strategic layer to the all-out action. Each mission concludes with a showdown against a boss that's bigger and badder. The game's environments are as interactive as they are destructible. You can blast through barriers to discover hidden items, or even use the scenery to your tactical advantage. And let's not forget the humor. Metal Slug doesn't take itself too seriously, often presenting enemies in humorous, unsuspecting, and downright silly situations. Coordination and teamwork elevate the gameplay, allowing you and a partner to cover more ground, strategize rescues of POWs, and unleash dual assaults on the game's larger-than-life bosses. Whether you're coordinating attacks, reviving each other, or just sharing a laugh over the game's absurd enemy animations, playing together amplifies everything that makes the game great. Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom. In the enchanting world of Mystara, set within the beloved universe of Dungeons & Dragons, a dark cloud looms over the Republic of Darokin. The land faces unprecedented threats as monstrous forces besiege it from all corners. Amidst this chaos, 4 courageous adventurers rise to the challenge. A cleric, dwarf, elf, and fighter are drawn together by fate and the request of the merchant lord Corwin Linton. Their quest to unravel and halt the sinister machinations of the arch-Lich Daimos, whose dark sorcery has led to the surge of monster attacks. Their daring journey leads them to the ominous Tower of Doom, where a showdown with Daimos awaits. Players are faced with choices that shape their journey. Various paths unfold, leading to different realms, ensuring that no 2 adventures are the same. This choice-driven progression adds replayability uncommon in typical arcade games, utilizing an array of weaponry and spells, from burning oil and hammers to magic missiles and cure wounds, adds strategic variety. Each character not only offers a unique playstyle, but also requires players to think on their feet and adapt to increasingly challenging encounters. In co-op, strategy and collaboration go hand in hand. The cleric might focus on healing and turning undead, while the fighter takes on the brunt of the melee combat. Meanwhile, the elf can unleash devastating spells from a distance, and the dwarf excels in close quarters, dealing massive damage. This synergy not only makes the gameplay more engaging, but also mirrors the cooperative spirit of traditional tabletop D&D. Bubble Bobble. In the quirky world of Bubble Bobble, Bob and Bob, 2 dinosaur-like brothers have a chill life in a magical forest. That is, until the villain Baron von Blubber decides to kidnap their girlfriends. The brothers aren't having any of that, so they dive into the Cave of Monsters, ready to battle through 100 levels to get the girls back. And here's the kicker. At the end of this wild ride, it turns out Bob, and their girlfriends are actually humans, magicked into dino forms, and even their parents are caught up in this mess. Coming to the gameplay, you'll be jumping around compact levels filled with platforms, where the main goal is to trap enemies in bubbles and then pop them for points. Think of it like blowing bubble gum, but way more intense, with enemies turning into flying fruit or other treats. You can also ride bubbles to float to new heights and grab power-ups that let you unleash elemental fury like fire, water, or lightning. Need a quick boost? Spell out Extend with letter bubbles for an extra life and a fast pass to the next level. Bubble Bobble really pops off when you bring a friend into the mix. Playing co-op isn't just about having double the fun, it changes the whole game. You can team up to corner enemies, strategize bubble traps, or split up to cover more ground. It's about teamwork, making those tricky levels a bit more doable when you've got a buddy watching your back. Reaching the game's end together doesn't just add to the fun, it unlocks the ultimate happy ending. Both of you turning back into humans and reuniting with your girlfriends is way cooler than the solo finish, which just teases you for playing alone. And if you're up for a real challenge, beating the game together opens up a super hard mode to test your skills to the max. Snowbrush. Alright, so here's the scoop on Snowbrush, where you get to explore into the frosty shoes of Nick and Tom, 2 brothers turned into snowmen by some icy magic. These cool dudes are on a mission to save the princesses Puri Puri and Poochie Poochie, who have been nabbed and tucked away through 50 challenging stages. It's a chilly chase through rooms packed with monsters, and these Snowbrush need to put the snowy skills to the test to pull off a heroic rescue. Speaking of the gameplay, well, you're throwing snow like there's no tomorrow. The goal? Cover your enemies in snow until they roll up into massive snowballs. Then, send these snowballs flying, smashing them into walls or other baddies to clear the level. The gameplay gets pretty wild because partially covered enemies can shake off the snow unless you're quick to cover them completely. Every 10 levels, there's a boss that'll challenge you to up your game. And don't dawdle, the evil pumpkin head shows up if you're too slow, spawning ghosts that haunt the stage and are impossible to kill. You've got to dodge these spooky threats while cleaning up the last of the baddies with your snow-throwing prowess. The power-ups add a fun twist. Grab a red potion to speed up, a blue one for snowier snowballs, a yellow to chuck them farther, or a green potion that turns you into a flying, enemy-knocking snow balloon. Hidden bonuses and secrets pop up, offering chances for extra lives and big scores, crucial for those aiming to dominate the arcade leaderboard. The co-op mode isn't just about doubling the firepower, it's about strategizing and bouncing ideas and snowballs off each other. You can create some epic chain reactions together. One of you could set up a snowball and the other could kick it into a group of enemies, racking up points and clearing the screen faster than you could solo. And when that invincible pumpkin head pops up, teamwork is key to dodging the unkillable ghosts and clearing the stage before it's too late. Plus, there's something super satisfying about sharing those power-up benefits or saving each other from a monster-filled pinch. Whether you're laughing over a perfectly timed snowball smash or groaning as the ghosts corner you, Snow Bros turns every arcade session into a memorable hangout. Iari Warriors. Iari Warriors drops you straight into the boots of Colonel Ralph Jones and Second Lieutenant Clark Still, two hardcore commandos on a mission that feels straight out of an action-packed blockbuster. These guys are not just out for a stroll, they're on a serious trek to the village of Iari. What's the catch? Well, the area's crawling with enemy units, think tanks, helicopters, and a boatload of soldiers all itching for a fight. Ralph and Clark's journey is nothing short of explosive, and they're all that stands between peace and chaos. When you fire up Iari Warriors, you're signing up for a top-to-bottom roller coaster of gun-blazing action. You and your buddy take control of Ralph, decked out in red, and Clark, cool in blue, and start mowing down anything that moves. What sets this game apart is its wicked rotary joysticks. You can spray bullets or lob grenades in one direction while moving in another, which feels like you've got the freedom of a commando for real. As you push forward, you can hijack enemy tanks and, in some versions, helicopters, adding a whole new level of strategy and firepower to your arsenal. But watch out, these aren't just for show. Tanks can shrug off bullets, but keep your eyes on the fuel gauge. And make sure you bail before it goes kaboom! Helicopters let you soar over obstacles and unleash hell from above, making you feel untouchable. Well, until you're not. Here's where Iari Warriors shines like a crazy diamond. It's co-op mode. The game's a blast when you play solo, but bring a friend and it's a whole other level of awesome. Co-op is all about teamwork. You cover each other, strategize on the fly, and share power-ups, making those seemingly impossible waves of enemies manageable. Having your buddies back as you flank enemies or coordinate an attack while one drives a tank and the other covers on foot adds a layer of tactics that solo play just can't match. And when one of you mans a helicopter, the other can keep advancing on the ground, creating a two-front war that feels incredibly satisfying. Rampage. So here's the deal with Rampage. You've got these three ordinary humans, George, Lizzie, and Ralph, who've had some seriously bad luck with experimental mishaps. Now they're not so ordinary. They've turned into massive monsters, a gorilla, a reptile, and a wolf, respectively. Their new mission? Tear through cities across North America, smashing buildings, chowing down on humans, and dodging the military trying to take them down. It's total chaos, a monstrous road trip where everything's breakable and edible. When you jump into Rampage, you get to pick one of the three monsters. Man, it's a rock-solid experience. Your job is to completely obliterate every building in sight to move on to the next city. Climb up the skyscrapers and punch them into rubble, grab helicopters and toss them, stomp on taxis. The works. And yeah, you gotta keep an eye on your health, because everything from bullets to dynamite is coming your way. You can snag snacks to boost your health, whether it's a tasty fruit or a not-so-lucky soldier. Get too banged up and your monster turns back into a human, embarrassingly shuffling off the screen. But if you're playing with buddies, watch out, they can actually eat your monster-turned-human for a quick health boost. Maybe one of you grabs a bunch of health items while the others fend off tanks and helicopters. Or you work together to take down a particularly tough building. And let's be honest, chomping down on a buddy's character when they revert to human form, it's brutal, but hilarious. Captain Commando. It's 2026, and Metro City has gone full sci-fi, but crime has skyrocketed. Enter Captain Commando and his crew of commando companions, stepping up to clean up the streets, and not just on Earth, but the entire galaxy. These aren't your everyday villains, though. We're talking super criminals with powers that make ordinary baddies look like small fries. At the top of this heap of trouble is the big bad Scumicide, running the show. Captain Commando's mission? Kick butt, take names, and save the galaxy from this high-tech menace. Speaking of the gameplay, you've got 4 unique commandos to choose from. Mac, the mummy-looking dude, Captain himself, Ginzu the ninja, and Babyhead, who's literally a baby in a mech suit. Yeah, heard that right. As you guys roll through the 9 stages, it's a punch, kick, and jump fest. all the way to the bosses waiting to throw down at the end of each level. The controls are slick. Think Final Fight, but with a dash feature that lets you charge into enemies or leap across the screen. And when you're feeling cornered, smash that attack and jump together for a special move that clears the crowd at the cost of some health. And hey, it's not just about fists and feet. You can grab weapons like guns or shurikens, specifically for Ginzu. But here's the cool part. You can commandeer robots that pack a punch, torch things up, or freeze enemies in their tracks. Plus, you can carry these weapons from one stage to the next, upping your firepower as you go. The co-op gameplay is absolutely stunning here. Each player grabs a different commando, and it's like directing your own action movie. The co-op mode is all about teamwork, covering each other, combining attacks, and sometimes racing to snag the best power-ups or robots. Playing with your buddies turns each stage into a strategic brawl fest. You might have Captain laying down the law with heavy hits, while Ginzu slices through enemies. Mac goes full mummy madness, and Babyhead causes chaos in his robot suit. And when someone activates a robot, it's game-changing, literally turning the tide of battle with those extra abilities.
Pimpin' shoots for 3. Got it! Congrats! Head fake! He's heating up!
NBA Jam. So there isn't a deep storyline in NBA Jam, but here's the scoop. It's all about high-flying, 2-on-2 arcade basketball action. Imagine the coolest basketball game you could play at the arcade, where realism takes a backseat to over-the-top adrenaline-pumping gameplay. You're literally setting the hardwood on fire with monster dunks and spectacular plays that defy gravity. Let's talk gameplay. You're launching your players into the air like rockets for mind-blowing dunks from half-court. This game takes the 2-on-2 format from its spiritual predecessor, arch rivals, but amps everything up to 11. You pick from real NBA teams and players from the 1992-93 season, bringing them to life on the arcade screen with their digitized faces. Gameplay straightforward, yet insanely fun. There are no fouls, so you can shove opponents around to steal the ball. But the real magic happens when you hit 3 consecutive baskets. You catch fire, boosting your speed and accuracy, letting you nail shots from nearly anywhere on the court. Co-op mode in NBA Jam isn't just about playing together. It's about creating those fist pump, shout at the screen moments that only come from playing side by side at the arcade. You and your teammates sync up to dominate the court, setting each other up for wild dunks and celebrating each "he's on fire" moment together. The dynamic of playing in the same physical space adds an irreplaceable layer of excitement. You're physically bumping elbows, coordinating plays on the fly, and riding the highs and lows of the game together. It turns a great game into an unforgettable arcade experience, where the shared highs of a buzzer beater or a last-second block are the stuff of instant legends. Time Crisis. Time Crisis drops you right into the middle of some seriously dicey situations where a covert group called the VSSE is always on their toes, tackling threats from sketchy criminals to aggressive military units. The game transports you to some wild made-up spots all around the globe. Each episode kicks off the VSSE catching wind of some big bad threat, leading them to send the top agents into the fray to save the day. Playing this game is like being in an action movie. What sets it apart is this cool feature where you can duck behind cover. This isn't just about blasting away at everything that moves. You actually get to hide, to dodge bullets and reload. It adds a tactical twist to the typical shoot-'em-up gameplay. Plus, you're racing against the clock in every level, which cranks up the intensity and keeps you on your toes. But here's where it really gets fun, the co-op mode. When you jump into this arcade version with a buddy, it's a whole other level of awesome. You're not just standing next to each other shooting, you've got to work together, figure out when to cover or move, and sync up your strategies to beat the levels. It's about nailing that perfect combo of teamwork and timing, going through the levels with a friend, saving each other from near misses, and pushing through to beat the clock. That's what makes it one of the best arcade co-op experiences out there. And there you have it, the creme de la creme of co-op arcade games. Whether you're dunking on your pals in NBA Jam or saving the galaxy with your squad in Captain Commando, these games were all about sharing the joystick joy and forging friendships. So, who's ready to take these games for a spin? Grab your quarters or your arcade emulator, rally your team, and explore headfirst into some of the most unforgettable joystick wiggling, button smashing fun you can have with friends. And remember, in the world of arcade games, it's always better together. Loved our list? Think we missed an iconic game? Comment below with your favorite co-op arcade experiences and hit that like button if you're as pumped up about these games as we are. Let's keep the game alive, both on screen and off. Game on, team players.